Welcome to Serving Locally with me, your host, Michelle Dinas, a podcast where we spotlight service in the Longmont and surrounding communities. All right, let's connect. Hi, welcome to today's episode of Serving Locally with me, your host, Michelle. Today I am here with a way forward, so we'll just get into it, and we'll just start with Lulu and say, who are you and what is a way forward in just a quick overview?
Hello, my name is Lourdes, but everyone calls me Lulu. So I've been at A Way Forward since July of last year. So A Way Forward, it's a recovery community center where we offer services free of charge to anyone that is dealing with any addiction, emotional or mild mental illness. We strongly believe that we all are recovering from something. So that's where we come in. We're all recovery coaches, peer support, and we have lived experience. So either some of us are going through, addiction, or we live with family. In my case, I lost my brother to drug addiction. And last year, when I was looking for a bigger purpose in my life, I came across A Way Forward, and they were hiring. But so the thing is, I started reading about it, and the more I read and dig into it, I really loved it. So one morning, I called Miss Debbie, which is here, and I said, "Hey," I said, "Who can I contact? I want to work for you. I want to apply." I said, "I'm ready." And Debbie, she says, "Why don't you come and see me?" And when I went to meet her, I really fell in love with the purpose, with the whole identity of A Way Forward, because everyone in there, they're so welcoming. And when you walked in there, you feel like you are reaching help, true help, not your typical clinical building, cold walls, where everyone is wearing a suit maybe. This is an actual house, a home. When you come in, you feel welcome. You feel that you finally reach, someone that is truly going to listen to you, someone that is truly willing to walk with you, grab you by the hand and say, "You know what, I'm here for you, and we're going to do this together." So we meet everyone where they are. So we're not going to go less or higher. We're going to walk with you, and we're going to be there with you. And we make sure that you know that you are not alone, and the only one there, that it's going to have to do the main work, it's you. However, we're going to be there with you to guide you. So I feel that we are like spiritual guides in a way. We listen, and we listen without judgment, but we listen and we feel exactly what everyone is going through. Like I said, me with my family, losing my brother. So I know exactly what it feels to have somebody in addiction that you want to do so much for them, but at the end, it's them that they have to do the work. Right. So that's where I come in, and becoming a recovery coach, it was, thanks to Debbie. She's been amazing, and she's like, "You know what? If you're willing, I'm willing to help you." And she has done so much for me, and I've learned so much. And to be honest, every day when I come to work, I know there's someone there that is going to listen to me, and I know there's someone there that I'm going to help. So that's why I do what I do.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah, I'll never forget when you first came in, and I just fell in love with you, and I respect you so much for your service, Lulu.
Thank you.
I think that's really important, that Lulu is also, besides being bilingual, she's a veteran, and we try and reach both populations. It's part of what we do. Being a community recovery center, I feel really strongly, as one of the co-founders, that everybody should have access to high-quality health care, regardless of insurance, citizenship, and so our tagline is removing barriers to recovery. And we remove those barriers through our central location in a house that's handicapped accessible. We are open 7 days a week, 11 hours a day.
Oh, wow.
We work our tails off. I personally know how much courage it takes to ask for help. And I know how small that window of opportunity, if you will, how small that can be. And so we want to be ready there with a welcoming hand when somebody does have the courage to ask for help. I know addiction doesn't take a day off, so we don't take a day off either. So I think in the nonprofit world, with our level of service, we're really exceptional. I mentioned before high-quality health care. What does that look like? It's not just recovery support groups or art projects, although we offer that too. We offer in-depth, structured recovery services. And we use all evidence-based materials from Hazelden Betty Ford. I don't know if you've heard of it before.
No.
It's the premier recovery center in the United States. Eric Clapton even went there. But they have the best publishing house and the best recovery materials. So we offer, for example, a free 12-week intensive outpatient program, and it's shortened to IOP. So we offer that, a 12-week program like that, which is an alternative to somebody putting their life on hold to go to an inpatient program.
Right.
Not everyone can do that. People don't have somebody else to watch their kids. But we individually structure a recovery path for everyone who walks through the door based on what they want to do. So they are very empowered to find their voice. People are their own experts. They know what resonates with them. Yeah, I deviated some, but veteran services. I'm going to get it back to you, Lulu, because 10% of our clients
That's
are
correct.
veterans.
Yeah.
And the other co-founder of A Way Forward is Larry Rand, who has been involved with Veterans Outreach for 35 years. He was one of the founding directors of another nonprofit, Veterans Helping Veterans Now. And Larry is a Vietnam combat veteran.
Can you give us a little background about your organization?
Yeah, so I have been active in the Longmont recovery community for over 20 years. And when the pandemic hit, I'm a single mom, and my son was in high school, and I was homeschooling him, and it was great. We had a great time together. And, so I was on the computer a lot. And I started to see these memes that I was laughing at them at first. They were, the person drinking the bottle of whiskey at 10 in the morning saying homeschooling's going fine, or quarantine Barbie with her hair sticking out in all directions in sweats holding a bottle of wine, and I laughed at them. And then after about a week or so into the pandemic, I started to see the anxiety and depression that was overcoming people. 2 weeks into it, one of my son's classmates committed suicide. And then I started to, in the recovery community, see people relapse, started to see people drink alcoholically. And I've always wanted to give back to my community. I've lived in Longmont since 1980. I was born and raised in Boulder. And I looked at my friend Larry, who I've known in the recovery community, and he's got a lot of experience serving on different boards. And I said, I think it's time for us to start something. Everything is closed down. People are really hurting. And so it was in July of 2020 that we decided to start A Way Forward. And we were incorporated in August of 2020 and got our 501c3 in November, and already opened our doors in January.
Wow.
Our official opening was January 1st, or we started seeing people in December. Our official opening was January 1st, 2021. And I think that we really, really fill a gap in services. We're almost like a triage on the front line because we are so accessible and open all the time.
Yeah.
And we're right across the street from Clinica, which used to be Mental Health Partners. And there's like a 2-month wait on average to even see a therapist there. And we aren't therapists, but we can talk with people. And so that's some of the background.
What is your focus at A Way Forward?
So to remove barriers to recovery, we want to make it as easy and as accessible as possible, and I think that there's a real need for it to be able to provide high quality, evidence-based, structured recovery programs at no cost to people. So we address all substances. One of our recovery coaches has her peer support certification in supporting people who are addicted to benzodiazepine. All of us have a different recovery journey, whether it's personally or with family members, where we can really speak from experience, lived experience, and help people. We also address so-called co-occurring disorders, which would be things like depression, anxiety, grief, anger, self-esteem and self-compassion, guilt and shame. We've got 8-week classes, again, using material from Hazelden Betty Ford, that's based in cognitive behavioral therapy and dialectical behavioral therapy, that really gives people tools that they can use to help them along their journey. I like those programs too, because it addresses a broader spectrum of our community outside of people that are only experiencing substance use disorder. About a third of the people in those mental and emotional health classes don't have any issues with substance use, but they just need a little bit of extra support. I'm sure you know, Michelle, how during the pandemic, rates of anxiety and depression skyrocketed.
Yes.
Like they increased in Boulder County over 50%, and people were really suffering and didn't have anywhere to turn. We offer recovery groups like AA, NA, Al-Anon, which is a group to support families and loved ones of people with addiction. Some people don't like those groups because they talk about God. So we also offer secular groups, Life Ring, Smart Recovery, Recovery Dharma, which Lulu loves.
Yes.
And we meet individually with people to support them on their journey, and then offer the different classes as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Who are you trying to reach with your organization?
We're trying to reach anyone who's suffering,
Yeah,
anyone
everyone.
who is lonely, is isolated, anyone who needs help. We do not offer court-mandated classes. So you'll hear about people that got a DUI, for example. The court tells them, you have to take these alcohol classes. Those make organizations a lot of money. There's a lot of money in that.
Okay.
But we don't want to get into that because we only want people coming who really want help, who are sincere about recognizing and not just doing it to check a box, to get somebody off their back.
Okay.
Yeah. We also have a real focus with Lulu being bilingual on the monolingual community. At Lulu's urging to also have a male that is bilingual. We hired a man from Mexico who's originally from Mexico in January. So that's really important to us. Close to my heart and the other co-founder are also services for veterans. We see veterans falling through the cracks a lot. And Lulu, being a veteran, provides so much support for them. So really anyone who wants help, and their families too, because addiction really is a family disease.
It's a family affair, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we also believe that just because we don't have an addiction, but we might know somebody, that might need help, it's like, so when we talk about, what service means to us, or like the purpose, sometimes, you don't know who you're going to reach out there on the street, like maybe when you are in the elevator, or like waiting for the bus or at the store, and you see somebody, that struggle, and if you have that personality where you like to help people, you say, you know what, I might be able to help you, go to a way forward. And sometimes just spreading the word, it's a big deal for somebody. We don't understand the magnitude of our words, like the information that we know.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, yeah, sorry.
No, that's good.
Like when
No,
we,
I hear
just,
you.
yeah, when we, spread the word, to be honest, we spend so much time on social media or just talking a lot of nonsense, wasting time, it's like, why not learning something, and put it out there? Because honestly, like nowadays, I feel like people don't speak up. And I feel now that we're more into social media, we've been divided into, and since the pandemic, social distance, and a lot of people are stuck
They're
there.
still isolated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like, you know what? There's a place in Longmont.
There's actual real people.
Yes, real people that, you can come and talk to them. Yeah, our words are so powerful, and the information that we carry, so to be honest, I know we make a difference. I know we save lives, and just putting the word out there, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, you never know where you'll find somebody. So 2 years ago, I got up in the morning and got my coffee and first thing checked my emails. And I went to the Nextdoor site, and somebody had written there, I need help with, I want to get sober. And I don't have insurance, and I need some suggestions. And I'd also like to learn how to crochet. And I thought, this man is for us. I wrote back to him immediately. I said, it just so happens that we do have a crochet group, and we offer all free services. And please come in. At 10 o'clock that morning, he was in there. And he got sober with us, and he now works for the city, and he hasn't had a drink since he walked through the door, and he crochets beautifully.
That's a great story.
It is awesome. Yeah, so you never know where you'll find somebody. Yeah. And it's things like that that just make me feel so good and warm my heart. But it is a hard job because people do die of this, and we have lost people too.
Yeah.
I always say, once a person has crossed that line of addiction, we can never go back. And there are only 3 choices: locked up, covered up, or sobered up. there really are no other choices.
Yeah.
And we want people healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one thing that I want to talk about is that, I mean, we understand and we're well aware that we are not for everyone, and people can come in, try all of our classes, but maybe sometimes the person is not ready, it's not their
Right.
time. But like I said, and we understand that we are not for everyone. However, the beautiful thing about a way forward is that even if we're not for X person, we're going to help you find, what type of treatment you need. And we will make sure that you get into, that door and hope, for the best. But, like we understand that we're not for everyone, and that's okay. I mean, that's the beauty of the world, that, our opinions, our beliefs, our education, it might not match with what somebody needs.
Right.
But bottom line, we're always going to be there for them. If they ever want to come back, at least just to, spend time with us. One thing about A Way Forward, people like to just come and hang out, spend time, so we have a kitchen and, we have all kinds of food and snacks and coffee going on all day long. So if people just want to stop by, and spend time with us, we don't have to talk about recovery, but, we like to, help them build relationships, build friendships, at least just to like listen to them.
Yeah.
One thing about listening that I've learned throughout the years, we need to listen to, not even to understand, to comprehend. Because comprehension, I feel like, is the gap that is missing when it comes to listening. Sometimes, we don't know what somebody's going through because, we're not on their shoes. However, try to comprehend their words, their meaning. That's where we come in, because we listen to, so we can understand where they are and what is it that they need. And sometimes just talking, there's a saying, and I think you've said this before, Debbie, a problem spoken is halfway solved or something like that.
Right.
It's the hardest part is
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
say it, is to ask for help.
Exactly.
Is to have that
And,
courage.
Yes. So, and like I said, that's the beautiful thing about A Way Forward. Like if you just want to come and talk, just hang out. I mean, we're there all the time. There's somebody there always, like right? Like somebody's always there.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I like saying is that the opposite of addiction is community. And an addict alone is in bad company. So community, and especially since the pandemic, the community really suffered. And you mentioned social media, people isolating with that. But to create that sober community is a huge stepping stone in recovery. We talk about new playmates, new playgrounds, and people need to cut ties with people that they used to drink or use with and develop the new friendships.
Speaking of addictions, social media. People do become addicted to their phones and social media. So that's another way we come in, because it's like we help you rebuild like face-to-face relationships. That is so important that nowadays, we have lost that sense of being.
Yes.
Because in social media, you can be whoever you want, but honestly, that's not who you are.
There's nothing real or true about it.
Exactly. The thing is, like when we're present in person, that's who we are, and we need to start working on that again, building it slowly. So we have the people, we have the spirit. We're always there for somebody, anyone. You don't have to be addicted to drugs or alcohol. Like I said, we're all recovering from something, and it doesn't have to be a substance, but it could be emotional, social, family relationships.
So, for example, we have a man who we met him through our outreach at Hope Shelter, and he was not successful in the shelter because he has night terrors. And this man has no issues with substances, but he lost everything 10 years ago when his wife, who was the love of his life, and his 10-year-old daughter were going out one evening in Colorado Springs to pick up Chinese food for dinner, and they were hit and killed by a drunk driver. And when this man, his life fell apart, his life shattered when that happened, and he lost everything, and he ended up homeless. And last year he came into my office, Michelle, and he just started crying. It was when he was at the shelter, And he said, Debbie, I went to Wendy's for the free senior coffee, and the girl behind the counter yelled at me and said, "Get out! I don't serve homeless people like you." Or no, she said, "I don't serve drunks like you." He doesn't even drink, and it was somebody who was drinking who destroyed his life. And we're looking at getting him a lot more involved with A Way Forward. He's recovering now and getting his life back, and it's so wonderful. He's there every day, and just to see him happy and feel purpose again in his life and be able to talk about his grief and his trauma, it's huge.
Yeah. And it doesn't go away.
No.
It will never go away.
Grief doesn't have an expiration date.
No, so it's not like you recover.
No,
you're never not recovered fully because you can't replace that.
So,
but he can manage his life now.
Yeah.
We can live with
and
it.
be at peace.
Yeah. One thing that I've seen with him, he is so grateful for A Way Forward, and he has made comments. He says, "You know what? If A Way Forward wasn't here," he says, "I don't know where would I be right now?"
Right.
And and that's when I said, "Man, it's worth it to be here every day."
Right.
Like when you're looking for a purpose, I'm like, he is the purpose. Like we are here because of people like him.
Right.
And he actually says, "You saved my life."
Yes.
And how often do we hear that from people?
Yeah. And he's very humble about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I'm like, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need those lights in the world.
Yeah.
For sure. What makes the work of A Way Forward different than other similar serving organizations?
So we are very open-minded, very free. We welcome absolutely everyone. And again, one thing that Debbie mentioned, we are accessible. We remove barriers. Not only we're open 7 days a week, 11 hours a day. We don't ask for insurance, ID, status, nothing. So, I mean, when you come in, one of us will sit with you right away, and help them. We meet them where they are.
Yeah.
What else? We work with them.
And, and those in-depth recovery solutions as an alternative to an inpatient program. Nobody else offers that. An intensive outpatient program like we offer on the open market, that costs $10,000. Inpatient for 1 month is like now $30,000. Sometimes insurance will only pay for 2 weeks of a 30-day program. I know that might plant a little seed, but it just doesn't do it. And then people's insurance run out. We fill a gap even for people who have insurance when their insurance won't pay for anything more, or if they've been to inpatient treatment and they need aftercare. They use our IOP as an aftercare program to reinforce these recovery tools. But really the in-depth structured classes and serious material, that people can really bite into. We also look at, relationships like codependency or narcissistic relationships. We get referrals from the St. Vrain Safe Shelter for women who go there they're in a relationship with a narcissist. So, we are really, really comprehensive wraparound services.
Right. So another thing that I want to talk about, so we have a full kitchen, we have a shower, and we have a laundry room. So we also help people with resources. For example, let's say we're working with somebody that is homeless, right? And they apply for a job, right? So what's next? If they are called for an interview, I mean, honestly, if you're clean and you have clean clothes on, you're going to feel much better, more confident.
Absolutely.
So that's where we come in. So it's like, we help them, hey, there's a shower, there's a laundry room,
Brush your teeth.
Yes. And
Let's get a haircut.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and we do. We have somebody doing community service at our place right now, and she's a stylist. So she's been cutting hair on the weekends.
Yeah, great.
we'll do things like that. But the fact that unhoused people can use our kitchen if they're receiving services, we just don't want anyone off the street. But you want to get better. A couple years ago at the shelter, we met two older women. They were in their early 70s, and a couple things went bad in their lives, and they found themselves homeless. And they used to come to the house every morning and cook themselves eggs for breakfast. You should have seen the light in their eyes and how good they felt just to have that little bit of autonomy and feel like people again.
Yeah.
It was huge.
Yeah, to get good nutrition.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yes.
You have to cook, not just cereal bars or something all the time.
Right.
That's a different conversation, though. I'll leave that for something else. What are your greatest needs?
Money.
Yep.
As always, because we don't accept insurance, and we just run on grants and donations. We felt in the past year the economy hasn't been the best, and we've definitely felt that. We have a fundraiser going on now. People can go to our website or to Colorado Gives. We're asking 100 people who can to donate $100. And we've had great support from people. We would like to reach our goal of $10,000 by the end of March.
Or more.
And or more, we'll take more. We're at about 3,000 right now. So yeah, that's our
I'll
that's
post
our
that
biggest
flyer.
need.
I'll
That'd
take
be
a picture and
great.
post it.
Thank you.
That'd be great.
Hopefully I get it up before the end of March. I'll do my best.
We'll take money afterwards too.
Do you guys need any volunteers or anything? Are you guys staffed?
We're staffed. We have 8 people on staff, and we have about 20 volunteers for, maybe one has just one group that they're responsible for, but we've got a lot of volunteers, and then we also collaborate with Boulder Community Justice Services, so we provide community service hours opportunity for people.
That's good.
And I love that because I would say about 90% of the people that are doing community service hours at A Way Forward, their violation somehow involved substances.
Right.
So I love it that we can plant the seed and support them too in their recovery and talk about, these are the options. And, people on our staff have been justice involved too. So with that peer model being peers, there's no shame in it. Justice involvement or substance use or both of those together, there's so much stigma around it. And I really think the stigma kills people.
Yeah. Do you have any events coming up, volunteer opportunities? I know you have got the fundraiser going on. Is there anything else?
Yeah. In May or June, I would like to have another author event. Last summer, we had 2 with a author. Her name is Bren Worthington, and she was living in Boulder at the time. She's since moved to Florida, but she'll be back. And she wrote a book called You Are Not Crazy about her experience with narcissistic abuse. And we hope to have her back in the summer and a community event with that. What else?
So throughout the year, so we do celebrate Thanksgiving, 4th of July, Veterans Day. I mean, we cook, and so people, that way they don't give people a chance to relapse. So that way they're not alone at home, remembering, maybe thinking about their families. In this case, veterans thinking about whatever events.
Holidays are hard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we are there, honestly, all day, and we stay until the last person leaves because we don't want anyone alone in their home. Like you said, addiction and loneliness, it's a worst combination. So that's why, every big holiday, we are there for everyone, and we all get together, cook, and the clients and people donate meals or cook meals, and fellowship is very important. So that's usually, when the big events that we have throughout the year, for example, like Cinco de Mayo, Halloween, Day of the Dead, so we set up, tables, in different areas of Longmont, and we talk about our services. So, we try to, go out of the house, out of our way, so we can reach, those in need.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know. I'm a Stephen minister at my church, so I absolutely understand that the holidays and anniversaries of things are very hard when you're grieving or when there's crisis.
Yeah.
So that's amazing that you guys sacrifice your time to do that. That's amazing.
That's that's what the holidays are about.
Loving
and
each other.
That's what and that's, to me, that's the true meaning of Christmas.
Yeah, for sure. How can people contact and find out more about A Way Forward? I know I probably already have you in my QR code. I'm not sure, but I'll have all your information in the QR code and then also in the description. But for those that are on maybe Spotify or something, go ahead and just, let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, people are welcome just to stop by, walk in, check out the house, come meet us. We're at the corner of 6th and Terry, a block south of Roosevelt Park here in Longmont. Check us out on our website. It's AWF, like A Way Forward, AWFnobarriers.org. And just stop by. 7 days a week. Our doors will be open.
And you guys have a Facebook page. Do you have an Instagram as well?
A little bit.
A little bit.
We haven't gotten into social media as much as we should, just because we're spent so much of our time working with people in person.
That's fair.
Delivering the services.
Absolutely. No, that's great. Is there anything else you would like to add to the conversation? I'll just give you guys the floor to talk about, what's maybe something we skipped over. You just feel like you want to share some more stories.
Yeah, so, and the reason I want to talk about me is because there's a couple of communities that I'm trying to reach. So I am Hispanic, but Mexican heritage. So I came to the U.S. when I was 13 years old. My parents illegal immigrants and the language barrier. So now that I'm working at A Way Forward, it's like this is my time for me to pay back, for what my parents did for me, and because I honestly now thinking way back, I'm like, I had it really good compared to other families that are here suffering not only dealing with their immigration status but language barrier. So A Way Forward right now we have programs that help Hispanic families that are struggling with language. Resources, maybe through addiction. I mentioned before, I lost my brother to addiction, so I can even imagine thinking back in when that everything happened with my brother, like my parents really didn't speak English. I was a teenager and we suffered so much. And I'm like, I want to be able to give back to my community, to my Hispanic community. I want to be here for them. And so I want to let them know that there is hope, that there is help. And that's why, for me being, what is service to me? Giving back to my people, to my community. If anyone is listening to me right now and they're struggling with mental, emotional, family, any type of addiction, reach A Way Forward. I'm here to help them. I'm here to help them find resources. If they're working, maybe they're immigration status, I can help them with resources. If they are learning the language, I can help them with that as well. I just want them to know that there is hope, that I don't want people just to feel that there's no one there for them. I don't want them to feel lonely. I don't want them to feel judged, especially because sometimes culture is so strong. And when it comes to culture, it's so like narrow-minded because we're afraid to step out of our comfort zone. But I want them to know, it's okay to reach for help. It's okay to call, it's okay to admit that there's something going on. It's not going to make you any less of a human.
It will make you stronger.
Actually, yes, like
it does.
To admit that we have a problem. The courage that it takes to come out and speak up and say, you know what, I have a problem, I need help. My family has a problem, we need help. You know what, I don't know what I'm reading, I don't know how to write. It's okay to admit, because, as humans, we need to come together and help each other out. I mean, human race is only one. Like, we should be helping each other instead of working against each other. Yeah. And one thing, so there's so many things that I have planned, with the support of Debbie. I also want to encourage females, women. So I don't know if that's the right word, but I want to encourage women, to stand up for themselves. I want to help them build self-esteem, confidence, self-love. My favorite type of people are those women that understand that we can work better together than against each other. Okay. So for me,
it takes nothing away from me to help you stand up more.
My crown. You're not gonna remove my crown.
No, I just want to fix it. I want to straighten it for you. Help you.
So as humans and as a female, helping each other, elevate each other.
Yep.
Oh my God, that will be like the maximum goal right there, yes. Helping each other. And I want to help, like I said, when I came to the United States, I was 13 years old. I didn't know the language. I didn't know the culture. It was very hard for me to learn. So I mentioned to Debbie my situation when I came at 13 years old and I didn't go to school right away. Now I find out the reason was because my parents didn't know the language and they were afraid and they didn't know how to enroll me in the school system. So actually I lost almost like 2 years without going to school. And then, so like I said, in a way I was very blessed because at 17, that's when I met a recruiter from the U.S. Army, and something just caught my attention, and I said, you know what, I want to do that. So I'm a veteran. I'm a female veteran, not just I'm sorry to brag, but I'm not just any veteran. I'm a combat veteran of 9/11. I serve in the 82nd Urban Division. So yes, I jump out of planes. But I can tell you, it was an experience that no one can take away from me. Right. And serving in the Army, it was like I grew up so much because I went out into the world. And then, like I said, I got to work with one of the best militaries, and serving during 9/11, even though it was very sad, very heartbroken, and it was a very difficult time. But I learned to stand up for myself. I learned what it takes to be an army of one. And now that I'm a civilian, it's like I want to help my fellow veterans. One thing that I experienced and I've learned the hard way was my fellow veterans falling into addiction. Unfortunately, when you are in a combat zone, you are stuck there. That when you become a civilian, only in clothing you're a civilian. But to be honest, mentally, we're still stuck in Iraq, Afghanistan, in those areas. And the way they soothe themselves is by either drinking, doing drugs, or self-harm.
Yeah.
And, I wanted the same thing, I want these veterans to know there's help, come forward. We're here to help. Yes.
You.
So we have a program called Veterans Moving Forward that is actually from the VA, that it was designed by veterans, for veterans that are stuck in the military when we're already out. It's about how to problem solve, how to resolve issues, and how to go back into normal life. So that's where I come in. One of the co-founders, Larry Ran, he is a combat veteran of Vietnam. So him and I, we've been working together to bring veterans together. Again, my other goal is to bring female veterans out of the shadows, because, to be honest, when you are out in the streets, you'll see the male veterans with their flags, their hats, and and talking about their experience, and obviously they're not talking about the dark sides of serving, but and sometimes it's just a front, but deep inside, they're suffering. And I always thought, if the male veterans, the ones that are out there, outspoken, imagine those female veterans that are hiding in their house. I can tell you one thing, that how female veterans versus male veterans, how we deal with grief, and PTSD is so different. And I can tell you from my experience, though, there were so many events with the whole thing with 9/11, when I was in the Middle East, that I still cannot really talk about them without crying, because, it's really hurting me. And I'm thinking, oh my God, if that's my case, I can even imagine my female veterans in their homes. To be honest, the last day that we serve, when we leave our uniform behind, we just want to hide. We don't want people to know who we are. But I'm thinking, no, that's not fair. We should be able to be out there, and show our faces and be proud that we did something, because we did something for this country.
Absolutely.
Because while we were fighting, so every citizen, we're enjoying freedom, freedom of speech, freedom, to enjoy your life, and a lot of us pay the price.
Absolutely.
And I kind of get emotional, because it is very hard for me, and it's very hard for, like, even Larry, he's still now, when he talks about his experience in being in Vietnam, it's hard. But, I want everyone to know, that we are here. We need to be listened to, and I want all the veterans to know, hey, you know what? You're worth. One thing, being in the Army, for some reason, we always come out and we always think that we're not good enough, even though after we fought for everyone's life. And that's not true. The things that our worth is way more than a uniform.
Absolutely.
And a flag, you know. And, I want to help them rebuild their lives. I want to help them rebuild their confidence, and it's self-love is a word that sounds so weak, but I probably think it's probably the strongest way of self-care, when you love ourselves and say, you know what I did, I'm proud of what I did, but where I'm going now, it's going to make me even better.
Right.
And that's where I come in. So, yeah.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, that's amazing. What does service mean to you, Lulu?
Ooh, again, getting out of self and into service. That's one thing that I've learned the first time I started working at A Way Forward.
Great recovery saying.
Yes, and the thing is, when I talk about being of service, meaning, finding a purpose, being there for somebody else. One thing that I know for a fact, you cannot pour from an empty cup. So the thing is, when you go out there and say, and I'm just going to give you an example, okay? I don't want to get so deep into it. But when you say to somebody, hey, I love you, I'm in love with you. But how can you love somebody when you don't love yourself? And it's the same thing when being out of service. If you are not whole, if you're not complete or restored, you cannot really get out of there and help somebody else. So you have to. The main work, you start with yourself. So to be of service, that means work on yourself. At the same time, you go out there and help somebody find the purpose, find the meaning of life out there, get out of the comfort zone. Because, to be honest, there's a saying that I really love. The comfort zone is where dreams go to die.
Yeah.
So it's get out of there. Go out there, find somebody, help somebody, do something that scares you every day.
Yes.
And that's what service is, leave that behind, and work on the new you.
Fantastic.
Yeah, get out of self and into service. As a person in recovery, if I am all caught up in myself, feeling sorry for myself, having a pity party, I will be saying, poor me, pour me another one. That is why in recovery that's so important, that get out of self and into service. There's another recovery saying, if you want to keep it, you have to give it away. And that means if a person wants to maintain their sobriety, they need to help other people with their sobriety. Service, I read a great quote from Denzel Washington the other day. He said, the first part of our life is about learning. Second part of our life is about earning. The third part of our life is about service. It's about helping others. I'm in that part of my life where I've got my education. I had my career in finance, and now this part of my life is about giving back. It's about helping others.
I really like that. That's really good.
Yes.
Well, I want to thank you guys so much for coming on the show today and for everything that you guys are doing. It's
Thank
amazing.
you.
I want to thank you for your service to our country.
You're welcome.
I just shake your hands, but there's mics in the way and
It's
it's
okay.
loud. But no, thank you so much for that. And yeah, I'm excited to see what you guys do. And I say that to everybody, but it is. It's amazing what people with the heart that you guys have, that what you bring to the community, and that to see where there's a hole and fill that gap and break down those barriers. I love it. It's just that's fantastic. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle,
Well,
for
thank you,
having
Michelle,
us
for
on.
having
And thank
us.
you for all you've done for Longmont in your
Yes.
role as Miss Longmont.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything. And, again, I want to say this one more time because I feel like sometimes, I don't make it. But honestly, if Debbie had not given me that opportunity, I wouldn't probably find the purpose, because I always wanted to find, I'm like, I know I need a purpose.
Yeah.
And now I actually understand, like what service means to you. And her giving me this opportunity to work at a way forward, I'm like, yes, I found my purpose. I love what I do, and I love helping people. And the thing is, like, when you love what you do, then
Yes.
it's not a job anymore. So
No.
that's where I am right now.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and with the podcast, that's what I want to reach people that need the services.
Yeah.
People that can afford, but they maybe don't have the time.
Yeah.
But people that have the time, and the heart to want to do it. And it's hard to find that certain thing. Like, oh, I really like working with kids, or no, I don't want to work with kids. I don't want to work with kids, or I want to work with veterans, or where is your heart and your passion, and then you feed that into you find that right thing. So that's why I'm all over the board with organizations to come on and be on the podcast, so that way we can put people back together in the community on where their heart is and how they can help each other.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
Thank you to my guests, my listeners, and my supporters. Serving together, we can strengthen our community. Please like and subscribe. Do all those other things. You got to do them, because that's the easiest way that you can serve right now. All right, now go. Connect with others and be a blessing.